Alright folks, welcome to another raid video, and it's Platinum Push time again. We missed last week's one, unfortunately, real life work commitments, things like that, so it was quite difficult to actually get time last week, but managed to get time this week to do the half-hour Platinum Push, which was good. And yeah, just gonna crack on with it. There was a little bit of problems with the video. My daughter decided to jump in and help me halfway through the push, so she was like pushing buttons and ended up changing scenes a few times on the OBS. So I've edited most of that stuff out, and yeah, I've actually tried to make it a little bit shorter as well because I noticed the last video was about 30-40 minutes long, and there was a lot of the same fights, which is, I guess it's good to see for some people, but it's a lot of what we've seen before, so I've edited it down and I've tried to edit out bits in between the matches as well. So let's just crack on with it and see how we did this week. Right, here we are with 16 minutes out on the Platinum Push. I've been using mostly my speed team, using Ethos to get to this point, but then when I get to the sort of higher level of Plat, as you've seen before, I usually pull out the Shamal team because there's quite a lot of resistance heavy defense based Swift parry type teams out there, so it deals with them a little better. But there's a mix of the teams here. I was actually trying out a brand new team, which I'm going to do in a video. So this is the Shamal team. If you haven't seen it before, you're about to see it in action. I was actually using a new type of offense that, to be honest, isn't very reliable, but it's a lot of fun. And I'm actually going to be doing a video on that, probably in the next couple of days, just when it gets edited and stuff. So that will be worth checking out. I was using it in this Platinum Push, but it was before this part of the video, so I didn't really want to show it right away. It's pretty cool. People have tried it and used it before, but I think I've managed to come up with a pretty decent version of it. So stay tuned for that video anyway. So won that one. Looking for teams like this is perfect. This is the sort of teams that this team just loves. Easy to beat. Now you're always wanting to go for Necrit first here because Necrit will protect champions. So take him out first and your life will be a lot easier, because if I tried to hit the Duchess there, he would have protected her with that shield and it would have been pretty difficult. Even with Shamal's crazy damage he does, there's no way I would have killed her. And usually when they've got this high resistance, they don't tend to have much Swift parry. Sometimes they do when they've got like the God Rolls and Swift parry gear. It's quite difficult to get like 700 plus resistance with Swift parry though. So now this is the same again. I'm looking here, but I want to take out Duchess first. Now see, when Rotos is sleeping, if anyone is using this composition, always try and take out the Siphi before it gets round to his turn, because at his turn, if he is sleeping, Siphi will just wipe the debuff away, and then he'll just wake up right away and attack, and then it can go south from there fairly quickly. Now, this is one thing you need to learn. Right away, I went into that fight, didn't realise how fast this Gurgle was, I left immediately. You are going to lose every so often, but the important thing is don't try and dwell on it. That's a mistake I've made in the past. So as soon as I seen that, I was like, right, out here, I'm not even going to try this, just straight out, straight into another fight. Because if I can win another 2 fights fairly quick, then I'm going to bounce back. But in the past, I probably would have tried to grind that out for maybe, 30 seconds or something until I realised, actually, I'm just not winning this one. I made a real effort as well this week to just go faster. I think a couple of weeks ago, if you'd watched one of my videos, I really took my time and picked the teams, and I had 100% win rate. I didn't lose any fights, I don't think. And I think I placed like 200 and something, or maybe 190, I can't remember now. So it wasn't great. And then, yeah, so this time, I'm not going to say where I placed, but I just made a point of just going straight into fights as soon as I'd seen a composition that I could probably beat. Because before I was trying to even avoid Swift parry and stuff, but it's pretty hard just now. Everyone's running it, so I guess Swift parry is here to stay. They don't seem like they're going to be nerfing it or doing anything to it anytime soon. There we go, Mountain King is dead. Now here we have one, that's a perfect team for the speed team, been using this a lot. It's basically kills this team dead every time, and it's much quicker. It's just that not many people use this kind of speed defense anymore. All it is using Valkyrie to cut in, lower the turn meter of Arbiter, sleep them all with Kymar, and then blow them up. Now, I'm never going to kill the Rotos like that, but it's no problem at all. Rotos isn't that great in defense these days anyway. So that was a 16-second win. That was much better. Unfortunately, none of them were in immunity, so I could have run it against that team, but I will build an immunity version of this one time. So I think I've noticed the top team looks pretty good for the Shamal team there. I think I've just noticed it there. Perfect. 2 Mountain Kings. Right, and here we go. We're going against the Lydia next, and then it's just a case of taking out... When they have strengthen on, it can sometimes be an issue, but I managed to get some more glyphs into my Inquisitors, and they seem to destroy everything now, as you can see. And there we go, just straight into another fight, no hanging about. Just as soon as you see a team that you can remotely beat, just go for it. You might not do it every week. You might have a bad week. You might have one where you run into quite a few, but one week you'll have a really good week where you do it really quick and you run into a bunch of teams that you do beat, and then you'll place really well. But this is providing your defense is good. If you don't have a great defense, it's maybe a little bit more beneficial to try and kind of hang about in the sort of lower levels of plat, and then at the end make a push. And hopefully because if you go right up to the top of plat and your defense isn't great, you're just going to get wiped all the way back down. Right, so here was one of the points of the video where my daughter decided to kindly help out and press all the buttons on my keyboard, which changed the scene, so I'm back. It's not that much further on, to be honest. I had used the speed team there to kill a couple of teams, and back to the Shamal team. Unfortunately, I mean, there's loads of this team that will be used in my videos. It's just because of the current meta. Ideally, I'd rather not be using this team because it is a little bit slower than the likes of my Kites team or my speed team. But it's just the current meta. This is what's been handed to us, so this one works at the moment. I mean, potentially I could start building this new guy Yoshi and doing the high resist way that way, but I quite like this team. There we go. Yeah, Kites team has been a little bit unreliable recently just because of Swift Parry. Most of the guys, especially Kites himself, is in like attack boots, so there's very little speed. So if you do hit a Swift Parry, then it's quite difficult to come back to. Now, I forgot to check the time there, but I think we're getting quite close to reset now. I don't actually know how that Duchess took so much damage there. That was quite an extreme amount of damage she managed to tank there. Because the strength wasn't actually up. But anyways, we managed to get around it. And there we go. He's got a tough team here. But we're around to this point, and neither of these guys have resist. The only issue being he has Lydia, so I don't want to resurrect my other Inquisitor. So this fight is now taking a little bit longer. But the problem is, if I do try and do it and then he resists, he resurrects the Duchess, then things are going to take even longer. So at this point, I'm just better grinding it out and just A1ing, because I still have one Inquisitor alive with fairly high health. So it's definitely doable. Kaimar has 100%. Well, no, I think he has 80% crit rate, so most of these poisons are landing too, which is pretty useful. And now I think the A3 should be back up on Inquisitor. Perfect. So 1 minute 32 to go here. I've edited out actually a little bit, but I had a look at my placing here, and let's just say I was doing quite well. So I've actually gone into a little bit of panic mode here. So as you can see, yep, that was the wrong move to make. I was kind of panicking, went in against that team and didn't even see Warlord, didn't realize how fast he would be. So here there's quite a few teams I could face, but I've just not seen them. Like that Vogoth team would have been better. But when you see you're doing quite well, you go into a little bit of panic because it's like 1 minute to go. And again here, I've jumped in against basically the same team we got beat earlier, a fast Gurgle. So unfortunately, we've had 2 losses literally right at the end. Now, what to do here is I'm actually just waiting for the auto to stop. And if you're in this situation and there's like 40 seconds to go, just leave it. Just leave the game. At this point, I've said, right, I'm not going to get another win even if I leave this. So I'm just letting the timer run out, let the platinum reset happen, and then at least I'm preserving, you know, another 8, 10 of my points, whatever it is. So yeah, unfortunately these things do happen. I just need to learn, I guess. Next week what I'm going to do is I'm just never going to look at what place I am until I actually place. Because, yeah, that kind of threw me off a little bit, and I probably would have been better, more clarity just looking at the teams. Because there was quite a few teams in that roster that I could have pretty easily beaten, and I would have had, you know, another 2 wins here rather than 2 losses. Well, I didn't actually get a loss for this one, but I didn't get a win. So I didn't lose points or I didn't gain points, but I would have potentially had another, you know, 8 to 10 points for each one and not got that one loss of 10, so it's like a 30-point deficit. So I'm just playing about here just to see if I can actually still beat them. It's looking unlikely, but especially when that happens. Gurgle is a really good champion, and I've kind of slept on him a little bit. People seem to run him really fast with decent accuracy, and yeah, he's a bit of a pain, not gonna lie. He does that, which is very strong, and then he does that as well, because he takes an extra turn too. At this point, yeah, just leave. So there you go, so we're gonna check our placing here. We're dropped all the way down to gold 3 there. And boom, we hit number 37, which is actually my best placing yet. Unfortunately, I don't feel amazing about it because I could have done so much better. I do feel it's a good place, don't get me wrong. What happened is my defense, for once, did really, really well. I changed my defense about this week, and it did very well this week. Really happy about it. I'll unpause the video because I think at this point I go and have a look at my defense. We'll have a look at that, and then we'll go over like my offense and stuff. So this is my defense log. So in the last 20 minutes, as you can see, a few losses there, but then I had a good handful of victories here, 4 in a row. Then I had a couple of losses, but before that, had another 4 in a row. So 8 wins there, 9 wins altogether in the last 20. And at this point here, if I skip back to... where was it? There was a point when I changed right there. So at this point here, at the 22-minute mark, I changed my defense to my new defense. So I won 10 fights out of however many that was. 22 fights. So out of 22 fights, we won 10, which is really, really good. That's the best my defense has ever done. So really super happy with that one. I'm not actually going to go and cover my defense yet because I've still got a few things to work out on it, and I want to use it next week and see if I can do... I think I could do even better, basically, because looking at this, the type of teams I lost to, I should be able to beat those kind of teams as well. You're never going to have a defense that's going to totally overrun people, but I think I could catch more people out than I did. So I'm not going to give it away this time. I'll maybe next couple of weeks. I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking. It's something that people use, but there's a few little subtle changes I made to it that I don't really want to advertise yet. because then everyone will target me next week and I'm screwed. So I'll leave it just now, but we'll go and cover my offense. But yeah, 37, happy with that, definitely happy. But yeah, I think I could have definitely been top 20 there if I'd just kept on it, but unfortunately didn't quite make it. But there's always next week, so we'll try again. Right, so the Inquisitor team hasn't really changed much from last week. There's a couple of extra glyphs on the Inquisitors themselves, but it's literally just attack glyphs, so they've got a bit more attack than they used to. My Great Hall's now maxed out for the Void anyway, so there's a few more stats there, but nothing crazy that's going to change the team too much. It's a pretty good, pretty well-oiled machine by this point. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly cover the speed team that I'm using because I hadn't really covered that before, and a few people had asked for the build for a couple of my champs in it. So it's pretty simple. It's just a really fast Arbiter. She's not in immunity, but she's at 364 speed. It works out fine because if I go first, it wins, definitely. If it goes second, it pretty much always wins with Valkyrie anyway. So you can normally tell by the setup if I'm going to win or not. There's not a ton of Arbiters that are actually faster than mine, so if they don't have a Siffy, then most of the time, not all the time, most of the time I tend to outrun them. There's quite a few teams or people that I know have like a faster Lysandra or a faster Arbiter, so I tend to just use the Valkyrie against them as well. But I'm always quite picky with who I fight with it. But yeah, she's 364. I mean, immunity is really, really good. It's one of the best sets for Arena, but I do honestly think people maybe try to go to it too much. There's no harm in just using a solid, fast Valkyrie without immunity, because, you know, with the likes of Madame, Sathalia, Kymar, there's just so many ways to strip off immunity these days. When I go against an immunity team, with this speed team especially, I mean, the vast majority of the time I'm just happy to see it because it's an easier fight than a non-one. So yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to say it's not a good set. It's definitely a good set, but I think some people, you know, put the importance of it way higher than it should be. If you've got insanely fast speed gear, just put the speed gear on them and you'll win ratio a ton more fights. You're not going to beat Hegemon teams, that's the only caveat. So if you're looking to fight Hegemon teams, but as you can notice, I never ever fight Hegemon teams because my teams aren't set up to do it. I did have a Hegemon team set up with Immunity, Kymar, Molly, the standard one. It's good, don't get me wrong, it's really good, but I think Hegemon seems to be kind of falling out just now at the moment. There's still plenty about, and they are still a pain. They're still a very good champion, but I do think they're slowly kind of moving out of the meta a little bit because there are so many ways to deal with them now. And there's a lot of teams that, you know, if they fight it, it's pretty much 100% win rate because you know that that's going first, so you can predict something that's happening and it's easier to build a team around it. What I try to do with my defense especially is make it a little bit unpredictable, so use champions that you would think are doing something but they actually do something different. So that's the idea behind that anyway. So sorry, I'm blabbing. Arbiter, that is her. Next on the list is our Kymar. I've done a video on him already. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out. I'll just put the link above here. He's like, for me, #1 arena champ at the moment. He's just so good. He's so good everywhere. So I've covered him in that video, but I'll just quickly. His stats are 310 speed, 567 accuracy. Again, I've not got him in immunity, but it's fine. I don't need him in immunity. Then my Valkyrie, wherever she is, I can never find her. I wish they had like a search button up here where you could just be like VA and it would just come up Valkyrie. So I haven't even, for some reason, glyphed that, or that must have been a new piece that I got and I just stuck it on and forgotten to level it up. Oh well. So yeah, this is her. She's in speed gear and perception, 518 accuracy, 287 speed is enough speed to cut in on everyone. 4.3k defense, and that is with, yes, yeah, that is everything there. 4.3k defense. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, you're only looking for the accuracy and the speed. That's the only two things you need out of that build. Obviously, accuracy on here. I probably should have said as well on Kymar. That's the masteries here. Accuracy, all this kind of stuff. Same with Arbiter. She's actually in resistance just to get a little bit more. I could probably just switch that out and probably make accuracy as well because she's only at 272, which isn't really doing that much anyway. We'll see. I'm not sure about that one. And then ethos finally. So my ethos is built a little bit different to most people's. A lot of people comment on this and say it's not what to do, but it works for me. I just run him in the crit build, so no crit rate at all. That's just random that I got throughout my gear. I'm looking for 6.2k attack, roughly 6.5k would be my target, it's what I'm aiming for, and 300 crit damage is what I want to get to. I don't have a very good piece here, unfortunately. It rolled HP, resistance and stuff, but I just needed the speed. That's on Glyphed as well, so most of this stuff is fairly new gear that I've stuck on him. And it's not the best gear. I've got better Savage gear out there on other champions, but it works for me. And the reason I'm doing it with no crit is because his Extinguished Life will kill pretty much everything in this build without defense down, and that's fine. That's what I need, because in this team I'm running, it doesn't actually have a defense down, so it's no problem. And Kymar resets and then he just does Extinguished Life again anyway, so it's not like I have to ever use the outburst. If I have to come around to a third AoE, then things are going to be pretty bad anyway, so I figure I don't really need this. I'm only looking for this ability, and it hits so much harder than this ability as well, so much harder. It's a really, really strong hit, this. It's not a double hit, so it won't kill Rotos, but like I mentioned in the actual video, I don't think Rotos is really in the meta as much in terms of defense just now. He's quite an easy champion to do on defense, I believe anyway. I always find him a bit easier than fighting like a Candraphon. He's a bit of a pain just now. Trunda's always a nightmare. So yeah, I would always end up fighting him. So yeah, I don't really worry about Rotos, even if I don't kill him in that one hit. He's already taken enough damage to just kill him in the next one anyway. So, and Ethos's A1 is nuts. I'm pretty sure it's got more than a 20% chance of an extra turn, because it seems to hit, especially in PvE, all the time for me. Like, so many times it's come in clutch and I've just taken like 4 turns in a row. It's ridiculous. Yeah, so that's his build. Like I say, I need to get some glyphs on him, get him up to about 220 speed, and get the rest of this stuff up. But yeah, I'll get there in the end, hopefully in the next few weeks. His mastery's obviously Helm Smasher, and yeah, I've gone down. You want Retribution as well. Definitely stuff like Ruthless Ambush. Because they're getting slept, Opportunist is a really, really good ability too, because 12% is massive. Because if you're stacking 12% plus Ruthless Ambush, plus, where is it, Bring It Down, that's a lot of extra damage. So that is the Platinum push this week, guys. Hopefully we can do better next week. I really would like to hit top 20 if possible. It's quite a high aim, but you've got to aim high, don't you? So we'll keep trying anyway. I don't have Siphi, I don't have Trunda, I don't have Hegemon, I don't have Warlord, I don't have any of those proper top tier champs, I think. My best ones are like Duchess, Ethos, Krisk obviously, but I don't actually use Krisk ever really. I should start using them more, but I actually don't use Krisk for my arena at all at the moment. So yeah, Kymar's better in my opinion just now. I think he's really, really good. So that's it, guys. Like I say, please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell button for notifications. Let me know how you did this Platinum reset too. If you did well, if you did terrible, just let me know how you did. And have a great day, guys. Peace.